What's up, everybody? This is M. DeGlide Woodrow. Um I'm coming at you right here. What I decided to do here with my channel is a little segment I call Beneath the Surface. So this is the first episode of that. This whole thing is going to be named after this album here by the GZA, aka Genius. Um, And basically, what I'm going to do with this little episodic thing I'm doing is I'm going to talk about underappreciated, under-discussed, underrated, overlooked albums and aspects of hip hop and hip hop music and hip hop culture. I'll get into the differential of that at some point, hoping that most people understand the difference between rap music and hip hop culture. But that being said, let's continue on. Like I said, Beneath the Surface, episode 1, we're going to talk about the album Beneath the Surface by Genius, GZA. Um, and as we all should know in the world of hip hop heads, Genius showed up into like the big spotlight anyway when Wu Tang dropped their first album, Enter the 36 Chambers. Um, he's one of the 9 original members. And that's a little, still a brief history. He then went on to do one of the best albums of the 90s, in my opinion, in many people's opinions. Um, and also, in my opinion, the best Wu related project, like post 36 Chambers, or even including 36 Chambers, because beforehand, members of the Wu Tang Clan did things on their own before they came together as that collective. Anyway, so Beneath the Surface, the album, the myth, the man, the legend, all of that thing, deserves more credit than it gets. Much more credit than it gets. And I think it did kind of not do well commercially because, like, I think a lot of the second runs of the solo albums didn't do as well. Of course, Supreme Clientele not included. That is widely considered one of the best albums of all time, and widely considered Ghostface Killah's like best album. I softly disagree, but I can't disagree in a way that makes a really hard point for any other album. So let's just leave that one alone. But we're talking about Genius. We're talking about the genius that is GZA. This album right here, just from beginning to end, through the skits, through it all, through the features that are on this album, and of course you hear from people from the Wu, like ODB and Method Man, which do enhance those songs to different levels. But Beneath the Surface had the unfortunate placement of coming after Liquid Swords. Liquid Swords widely, like I think I've already said it, widely considered one of the best albums of all time, and certainly one of the best Wu-related albums. And so it was very much under the shadow of that album. Liquid Swords is hard to top. It's hard to match. It's hard to do anything that lights a candle to that. That being said, Beneath the Surface is absolutely brilliant. Like I said, from beginning to end. The intro, the beat in the intro is just beyond fucking dope. Play that in the car, turn it up loudly, you're welcome. Amplified sample. Like just the beat choice here, the production, and then his voice over that beat totally it captures the listener. Doesn't let you down. And it keeps coming beneath the title track, Beneath the Surface, keeps going at you. And the beats throughout this album are so good, so good. And even the skits have very like political consciousness going through them that say some sort of commentary about the state of the world. Sadly, those skits are still highly relevant in 2021, 22 years later after its release in 1999. But all of that together, plus the wordplay you come to expect from Genius, from the man that put together Liquid Swords and who Method Man describes as the head of the Voltron robot when on 36 Chambers. You come to expect that kind of intelligence, and you get that intelligence, and then beyond that, because I think he's taken the building blocks that he threw down with his first album, Words from the Genius, that was prior to the 36 Chambers dropping, and then he continues that throughout every verse he does on 36 Chambers, especially so on on uh, on the album Liquid Swords. He's both socially conscious and full of good, great and genius wordplay, and he continues that poetry and that wordplay on Beneath the Surface without a question. Flashing forward though, we got songs that are totally take you by surprise too. Like there's a song called High Price, Small Reward. One of my favorite tracks on the album. Hip Hop Fury, another one of my favorite tracks on the album. Feel Like an Enemy, another one of my favorite tracks on the album. If I'm just gonna try to name a few, I really can't, because like I said, top to bottom, this album is fucking fire. It is every bit as worthy to be in the conversation as the better Wu projects. Period. It stands next to Supreme Clientele, Extremely Proud and Extremely Tall. There's no doubt about that. And if you really don't think so, we got String Play, Like This, Like That, featuring Method Man with that little string, and that sound that's in it. It's just so dope. It's so dope. And that song, it just continues to get plays for me. And then Mike Trippin is the last song on the album, and it's just a perfect last song. And the outro, like the intro, packages it all up, sends the listener off. But if anybody listens to this album not hearing at least a really dope album, I'm not sure what they're listening to. Because, like I said, is it better than Liquid Swords? I really don't think so. Is it just as good? Possibly. Is it still a damn good album and should be considered a classic GZA release? Absolutely. I mean, I have a hard time putting anything close to Liquid Swords, and that's my own opinion. I even put 36 Chambers below Liquid Swords in my account. So I've got, just to show you, like my favorite is Liquid Swords, period, point blank. Second, 36 Chambers, and then right behind that, only Built for Cuban Links. All bona fide classics. Not going to argue against any of those being better than Beneath the Surface. However, I'm going to tell you that Beneath the Surface is always going to be worth the listen. And it is. So, here we are, episode 1 of Beneath the Surface, named after one of my all-time favorite albums by anyone, Beneath the Surface by GZA. My favorite member of Wu-Tang Clan, I would say, because he put my favorite album out related to Wu-Tang Clan. And so, I don't know where I'd rank this all the way to like, I don't really try to do rankings. I just do favorites. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's probably in my top 100 if I had to say so. Every bit worth the listen. Every bit a classic album. From wordplay to beats to everything. Just go at it. This has been The Glide. I hope you enjoyed this first segment of Beneath the Surface. Give the album Beneath the Surface a listen. Give my shit a like. Spread it around. Debate it. I don't care. Do what you want. This is your space now too. All right. Peace. One love.